Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today in this discussion on cloud modernization. My name is Ankit Batawar, and I am a solution architect at REI Systems, and my focus is cloud technologies. During my cloud tenure, I have worked with multiple CIO and CTO organizations, advising them on their unique cloud modernization journeys. It is interesting how the cloud has evolved through the years and continues to evolve at a rapid pace. The technology, tools, processes, and the ecosystem, all of it. Through it, I have learned that success is defined by having an understanding of all the facets of cloud and continuously incorporating the relevant technology innovations into your stack. The intention of our discussion today is to understand this better. I also have my colleague Sandeep Kumar joining us here today. Sandeep is a senior technical architect at REI Systems and has an abundance of cloud and application modernization experience, executing projects at multiple federal agencies, most recently at NASA and the Small Business Administration. We will start today's discussion by looking at some cloud statistics from leading analysts conveying the current state of cloud. We will then look at cloud holistically and see the various steps involved in cloud adoption for your organization. We will see a few cloud architecture examples and then look at the benefits of cloud and understand the risks involved so we can effectively mitigate. Finally, we will close with a look at the upcoming trends in cloud. So let's get started. Before we begin, I wanted to clarify that when we used the term cloud today, it is based on the NIST definition, which is composed of 5 essential characteristics: on-demand self-service, broad network access, resource pooling, rapid elasticity, and measured service, and includes 3 service models: cloud software as a service, cloud platform as a service, and cloud infrastructure as a service. Cloud has existed for decades in the federal government, slowly and continuously evolving through the years. This is evident through the update of the Cloud First policy to the Cloud Smart policy, maturing the FedRAMP program, and even the implementation of the 21st Century Integrated Digital Experience Act, aimed at improving the digital experience for government customers. It talks about standardization and transition to centralized shared services, which have a big cloud component. Whether you're new to cloud or are familiar with it, it is good to have a baseline understanding of the role of cloud in the federal government space. So the intention of this slide is to provide all of you with some of that understanding, and the points here are taken from various research material produced by leading analyst firms. Let's get to it. The first 3 points here indicate the growth of cloud usage in the federal government. As traditional infrastructures age and agencies analyze their options for modernization, cloud is becoming a viable and valuable technology to consider seriously. Cloud spending has grown by 38% in the past 2 years and is anticipated to grow to $11.4 billion by FY 2022. The next 3 data points show us that cloud adoption, although increasing, is uneven from agency to agency and also across the various service models. DoD is spending more on cloud, and not all agencies have the same level of maturity when it comes to cloud. Cloud is reshaping how organizations innovate and quickly deliver positive business outcomes. However, transitioning to cloud requires an essential shift in attitudes and approach, and hence the unevenness in cloud adoption. The reports also state that the cloud adoption, although uneven, is progressing in the right direction. Recently, there is also a push to use more PaaS and SaaS cloud offerings as IT organizations mature their shared services models and processes. Finally, through multiple research works, we can confidently say that the cloud is here to stay and remains a top priority for federal agencies in the years to come. With that understanding, let's get to the end-to-end life cycle of cloud adoption. Wherever you are in your cloud adoption journey, it is important that you work through all these phases as an organization and also as an individual team. Doing so will improve the success rate of your cloud projects and cloud adoption as a whole. We see 4 phases here. Let's look at what each of these phases are. The first is cloud strategy. By performing the various activities in this phase, you can reduce complexity down the lane and unleash your cloud potential to the fullest. As we saw on the last slide, today the question isn't where whether you're going to move to the cloud, but how you will do it and how fast. By connecting your organization objectives to tangible cloud solutions, you can drive growth, innovation, and efficiency by implementing the right cloud strategy. You can take control of your cloud journey by executing this phase right, evaluating cloud providers to find the right fit, developing practices around mitigating risks, TCO ROI analysis, and working on a detailed roadmap that spans financial, technical, and security domains. Next is cloud implementation, and this is where we actually start implementing the cloud environment and moving the workloads. It involves steps like application rationalization, building the cloud foundation, and cloud migration or modernization. It is important to have an intentional methodology and cloud migration process that is unique to your cloud journey and that aligns to the leading cloud service providers' funding models to help increase cost savings and the success of migrating or modernizing your infrastructure or workloads using cloud native technologies. A business aligned iterative approach, a build approach to developing in the cloud is very important. After this, we have cloud testing. As with any systems, as they are implemented, they need to be tested for accuracy, functionality, performance, and security. This is also true with the cloud. Some activities in this phase run in parallel with the cloud implementation activities, and some come after. FedRAMP is very important when it comes to adopting the cloud. Setting up a strong cloud compliance program that considers all the necessary cloud compliance and controls is a big factor in deciding the success of your cloud program. And finally, we have cloud operations or O&M phase. As you undergo your cloud modernization journey, it is imperative that you modernize your IT operating model for the cloud. This is so you can take full advantage of the benefits of cloud transformation. Cloud adoption fundamentally shifts how your organization delivers value to your customers. Hence, designing, executing, and sustaining a cloud-first operating model provides the necessary agility and resiliency. By continuously evolving in this phase, you can future-proof your people process technology for the cloud. So on the next 2 slides, we will look at the 6 R's of cloud migration. These are 6 strategies for migrating applications to the cloud as outlined by Amazon Web Services. AWS based these strategies on the Gartner's 5 R's of cloud migration. As organizations begin to contemplate how to migrate an application, they need to determine what's in their environment, what are the interdependencies, what's going to be easy to migrate and what's going to be hard to migrate, and how they will migrate each application. Using this knowledge, organizations can outline a plan on how they will approach migrating each of the applications in their portfolio and in what order. When you are at a point of determining the path of migration, you can either not move the application, that is retain it, or you can retire it. If not these, then you can replace the application with a COTS or GOTS solution or move it to your cloud environment using rehost, replatform, or refactor. We will look at these 3 on the next slide. Finally, the complexity of migrating existing applications varies depending on the architecture and existing licensing agreements. Time, cost to migrate, cost to operate, agility, and complexity are metrics to compare various cloud migration strategies. For example, rehost is faster and economical to migrate, but very expensive to operate. On the other hand, refactor is complex, but lets you optimize the workloads to the cloud environment and is economically more viable in the long run. On this slide, we see the rehost, replatform, and refactor strategies side by side. The diagram here showcases AWS services, but this is true for any other public cloud provider, whether Azure or GCP. So during rehost, you can manually install and configure the workload in the new cloud environment or use migration tools to automate the process. The point here is that the workloads will move to the new cloud environment as is. So an on-premise server will be replaced by a cloud compute service such as AWS EC2 or Azure Virtual Machine. In my experience, organizations use the rehost strategy to scale their migration quickly to meet a business case. They then optimize or re-architect the applications once they are already running in the cloud. Next, replatform is a similar process to rehost, but here you might make a few cloud or some other optimizations in order to achieve some tangible benefit. You aren't otherwise changing the core architecture of the application. Under this strategy, you can either determine a new platform, like using open source middleware equivalents, and or modify the underlying infrastructure to utilize more fully managed services from cloud service providers. Lastly, during refactoring, you are reimagining how the application is architected and developed, typically using cloud native features. This is generally driven by a strong business need to add features at scale or even better the performance. Here you're designing the application and its infrastructure architecture carried out through a full software development lifecycle process. This pattern tends to be the most expensive, but if you have a good product market fit, whether internal or external, it can also be the most beneficial. So on the next couple of slides, we will see some examples of high-level cloud architectures. This current slide showcases a cloud landing zone. The intention of adding this slide is to convey the importance of having a robust cloud foundation, and this is true when using any of the public cloud service providers. Building a flexible cloud foundation from the start that embeds security, compliance, and efficiency is vital to realizing quick value during the migration phase. This includes setting up the baseline workload accounts, shared services, log aggregation mechanisms, and management and security tooling to simplify and expedite your cloud migration process. Landing zones allow you to standardize cloud environments, making the overall cloud environment more secure and cost-effective, and sets you up for long-term success. Here we see a refactored application that was developed using some cloud-native services. For one of our clients, we recently modernized their bulk upload application functionality. Instead of moving the functionality to the cloud as is, we redeveloped and re-architected the business process. The legacy application had complaints about frequent outages and scaling issues when it came to large uploads. Our team understood the architecture and decoupled the upload process from the front-end system. This way, the end users were able to bypass the front-end system and upload their large documents directly into the storage service. As you can see, the validation is handled externally via login.gov, and this shows that cloud modernization is also about understanding how to leverage shared services and tools to minimize rework and improve efficiency. We also added additional notification and analytical functionality so the end users and the concerned teams within the customer get notified about the uploads and are able to perform near real-time analytics on the uploaded data. This is all possible by the use of polyglot persistence or using different data services for different use cases, which leads to optimized costs and performance. On this slide, we see an example of application modernization, which often goes hand in hand with cloud modernization. This is also an example of the re-architect strategy mentioned earlier. It is the most common pattern of application modernization involving refactoring and breaking down a monolithic application into a collection of small, loosely coupled microservices. Here, a retail application was broken down from a single n-tier application to a collection of microservices of all the individual services within that app, each with their database and data model. Often, part of refactoring to microservices, replatforming or rehosting applications is almost always part of the modernization process. While it's possible to simply lift and shift applications without doing much of the substantial rewrite, more often the value is found in restructuring the applications to better take advantage of cloud models, often leveraging containers and Kubernetes. Legacy applications are also often monolithic applications. Monolithic applications have two characteristics that make it desirable to modernize them. They're difficult to update, and they're difficult and expensive to scale. The benefits of application modernization can typically be summarized as improving the velocity of new feature delivery, exposing the functionality of existing applications to be consumed via APIs, by other services, and replatforming applications from on-premises to cloud for the purpose of application scale and performance, as well as long-term IT strategy. So now, this specific slide looks at the concept of data shared services. It is not an architecture, but more of a framework detailing all the different aspects to consider as you build your next generation data systems on the cloud. We all know that data is critical to all organizations, and there is a massive push from organizations of all sizes to realize tangible and measurable value from their data. To do this in a unified open approach to data-driven transformation becomes a requirement. We have delivered projects that manage each and every stage of the data lifecycle, from running operational transactions to managing analytical applications across data warehouses and data lakes, to even rich data-driven experiences that break down silos. An open and standards-based platform offers best-in-class integration with open source standards and APIs, which ensures portability and extensibility to prevent lock-in. By building a industry-leading data cloud, you can achieve your organization's data architecture goals, which can include avoiding data duplication, faster self-serve data analytics, supporting advanced AI/ML capabilities, faster data discovery procedures, secure data access with governance enforced, scalability and high availability, and faster data retrieval. Now, let's look at some of the benefits of using the cloud. Cloud has been around for approximately 2 decades, and there is a lot of data pointing to the business efficiencies, cost benefits, and competitive advantages it holds. From cost benefits to flexibility and efficiency, cloud lets organizations scale services to fit their needs and get applications to market quickly without worrying about underlying infrastructure costs or maintenance. Cloud gives organizations a competitive advantage by providing the most innovative technology available to them. Even security is a big benefit of the cloud. Cloud offers many advanced security features that guarantee that data is securely stored and handled. Features like granular permissions and access management via federated roles can restrict access to sensitive data, not only to the employees that need access to it, and by that reducing the attack surface for malicious actors. Cloud service providers implement baseline protections for their platforms and the data they process, such as authentication, access control, and encryption. From there, most enterprises supplement these protections with added security measures of their own to bolster cloud data protection and tighten access to sensitive information in the cloud. Cloud computing is a game changer, but harnessing its potential to achieve business outcomes is hard. Enterprise architecture and technology innovation teams should appoint key cloud individuals and/or teams to build a bridge between business and IT, enable robust cloud architecture, and scale cloud efforts. This way, an organization is able to tackle some of these challenges upfront and in a centralized manner. Successful cloud adoption requires alignment between different stakeholders, coordination on an execution plan, and focus on continuous improvement. As with any project, proper planning and oversight is necessary for avoiding inefficiencies and rework. For your cloud projects, make sure you avoid the following: wrong emphasis, defaulting too quickly to lift and shift migration approaches, and deferring the cost of modernization to replace critical applications results in higher cloud operating costs after migration is complete. So plan your migration strategy well, keeping in mind the nature of your workloads. Poor landing zone design. Failing to properly architect and implement the underlying cloud landing zone environments into which workloads are migrated increases the costs of security and compliance. Make sure your internal teams are ready and skilled for performing the cloud activities. Choose an experienced partner where needed. Failing to fully assess the data center workload to be migrated results in incomplete specification of migration requirements and downstream scope creep. Dependency bottlenecks. Failing to discover and account for the interdependencies between on-premises systems being moved results in incorrect grouping and ordering of application migrations, network performance issues, and cascading delays. Beware of hidden indirect costs and plan for them accordingly. Cloud migration projects are often complex and involve multiple engagements with system integrators and/or managed service providers. Organizations can use this guidance to scope their cloud migration projects successfully and ensure a more complete tracking of true efforts over time. All right. So as cloud continues to evolve rapidly, the intention of this slide is to apprise you of some of the upcoming trends in cloud. As you work on your cloud efforts in 2022, keep in mind the importance of implementing shared services, components or environments, implementing zero trust architectures, and providing improved observability through AI ops or ML ops for cloud management. Finally, to summarize our discussion from today, remember that proper planning and oversight goes a long way in executing successful cloud modernization projects. Develop your cloud strategy and business objectives in alignment with federal mandates and your organization cloud policies. Select the right migration approach upfront and execute it in a phased approach. And finally, modernize to maximize. Maximizing long-term value in the cloud depends on modernizing applications, infrastructure, and data architecture. With that, we are at the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for your time today and the opportunity to speak with you on this exciting and important topic. Cloud on.